Une Dimanche à la Campagne. Sunday in the countryside. Marvelous, magnificent motion picture. There may be a program or television based on it called Une Dimanche à la Campagne on Saturdays, every Saturdays. Whether this is the source of inspiration of the book on which the film is based, I'm not sure. Fact is, this is a certainty. It's an impressive film, showing us the pleasure of being in the country, French countryside, and that's about 100 years ago. They had then one of the first cars. You started with a roar, and we have an artist, an old man, maybe dying soon, visited by his son and the son's family, wife, children, and the daughter, who is more of a rebel. She's not married, and she's seeing some men, and for 100 years ago, that's something to, not only to stigmatize, but to be unhappy with in a society which was prudish in a way, more conservative in the countryside anyway. There's the same thing now. If you think America is more or less blue in the cities and red as the devil, as Trump in rural areas. Besides, we have those red states, but let me not get to that. Let me not to the marriage of two minds admitted impediments. That's the beginning of a Shakespeare song. So, mesmerizing, slow, poetic, and thought-provoking. It makes one want to move in the middle of nature in the countryside. We did more than 20 years ago. It was 2001, and it was such a joy and a pleasure on some levels, or on others. There's primitiveness, there's rudimentary people. For instance, in this case, which was the breaking point, I guess, it was splendid. We had a forest which was 50 meters from the gate, with a citadel within a 10 minutes walk. This really filmed, incidentally, Cold Mountain, Nicole Kidman, Jude Law, Renée Zellweger, so many of us. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Dustin Hoffman, and more. That's good. But with this splendid scenery view setting, you had some neighbors that were devilish. They had the same taste in music, which was not nice, and at least on one side, they kept putting on and on and on, day in, day out, the same idiotic song, which so all girls wanted from behind. That was the punchline, but in the lyrics, the recurring theme. So it was in the end, I'm here after about 3 years of that. There was an end to the story, to the fairy tale, because again, it was fantastic. It was us back on the setting. and medieval churches nearby, and access to hundreds with a car, a day trip, and with it itineraries. But in the end, as I said, some kind of torture to pay for all that. To end with, there's a phenomenon called hedonic adaptation, which means people adapt to almost anything, good and bad. But there are a few things we find hard to adapt or impossible to. Loss of family member, unemployment, losing the job, and loud noise. You can't adapt to loud noise. You have to eliminate it or move away.